Yeah, Randy's asked us to come together and reminisce a little bit about how we have come to this point with our church planting network in Southern California. And I think back to the training we were having about coaching, and when Glen and Bermie and I we came together as a triad in the context of the coaching, and then realizing that each one of us we were district leaders, and then we had our brother Heber here in the area as well, and we couldn't figure out how we would have a triad, which was always all that was discussed, and have a fourth person. So we had to develop the coaching for a quad. So we became a quad, and as we went along and we began to have the church planting training, this began to kind of stir in our hearts, and we gathered a group together at our house to discuss initially how we could launch the idea of church planting. So we began to discuss, how this is going to come about.
And I think the seeds had been planted before that in some ways, because one of the first Church Next trainings, I think the first one was in Memphis, and then the next one was here in Glendora, and I think all four of us attended that. Yep. And so we were there, so that planted some seed with us and some of the people in our churches, some of our leaders. And so some of the seeds were being birthed. We've had many, many assessors become assessed here in the area. We've got many, many coaches. We don't have certified coaches, but we have a lot of people who have been trained in the coaching. And so we were already realizing that a lot of the structure was coming together just by God doing it, without us even sort of being the leaders yet.
Yeah, I remember when at least in my case, first time, I'm one of those pastors who had a lot of questions.
You sure did.
You did.
That's, I think it's normal that I have a lot of questions, but being patient and just keep on participating in the various workshops and seminars provided. And Randy also inviting me to attend this Church Exponential in Florida. I mean, all of those things together, reading the books, all of those questions were answered. And it came to a point that I said, yeah, definitely we do need church planting. And then you realize that as a pastor, how can I do it? I mean, I have a small church, we have limited resources. That's why I began to see, hey, we've got to work together. I mean, the network idea to me is really a good idea, because more people doing and working together is more effective than just me alone.
No, yeah, it's a blessing to be able to participate together and journey together. And like you said, Bermie, the individual thing, it just doesn't work, especially with the limited resources. So, hey, the vision that we have to be a network and to move on from here, it's catching traction. Yeah, it's catching a lot of traction.
And I think one of the things that we began to do as all four of us began to see a vision and a focus for the future, we began to hold some small training sessions for those who were interested, and get the word out and connect people by email, with what actually church planting is about. And then we shifted into a church planting rally focus, where it was more that we could all get together and just see what God was doing in the context of the focus that was developing.
We also got a push, I think, from outside when at the Church Next training we had up on the hill in 2008. I think it was the year anyway of the national conference, because we had the 3 Filipino couples come. Who had come over to check out the place after the national conference, and they came to the Church Next training. And the plan was they went from Seattle to San Diego, looking up the whole coast as to where the appropriate Filipino planting spot would be. And before it was over, they chose here in this area. So that's kind of kept us moving, I think, too, as we've got to be ready for them. And hopefully that'll be soon, that they come onto the picture.
So we went beyond coming together as a network to
right.
to actually getting some things in place to
Right.
be able to function as a network.
Right.
Yeah, at the start of this network planning, this church planting, I remember talking to different pastors, and I think that one of the reasons why sometimes people hesitate, as I did, is, sometimes pastors think that church planting as an idea, as a notion, goes against their own work as in the field ministry. When in reality, church planting, I feel, is one that can really give a moral boost to the congregation, for the congregation, for the members to not only witness kingdom work, but also to participate in the work. And I think that's what is needed. And so I feel that's what our pastor should also hear, that church planting will give them a bigger cause than just the local thing that we do in churches.
I think also one of the issues a lot of pastors faced, I did at first, and certainly our congregation did, was that the typical American version of church planting was a daughter church, where you send a whole bunch of your leadership and a bunch of your members off, and typically those are larger churches doing that. And here we are facing churches that are 100 or under in most cases, and people are saying, we're barely surviving here. What are you talking about sending a bunch of our people away? Although I think God would bless that too if we did that. I think we limit Him too much. But the fact is that put a barrier up for a lot of people. Like, what's it? Oh, it'll kill our mother church. Well, it doesn't have to. In many of these cases, we're starting from the ground up and can plant, like a seed. We don't want to have to plant a whole village at once. We plant a seed and let it begin to grow.
So we've worked as a network now for what, 2 years?
Around that
Approximately.
time, I'd say, 2 years.
About 2 years. We got our newsletter going once every 3 months.
And that's part of the idea, is to get the word out to other people, and to kind of keep them updated on what is happening. And we also have a bank account now that we can dedicate money to, and primarily right now, bringing together the finances to help support the Tabans when they arrive, but also ultimately to go beyond that, to help other individuals who are interested. And it's creating opportunity is what it amounts to. And that's really, I think, one of our big desires, is to help people to see that we want to facilitate what God is doing in their life and leading.
We create a structure too.
Right.
It's like if you fan the flame up and the desire of church planting, but after that the structure is built. It's like a machine that can continue on moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I think the aspect of the garden to me is very applicable to the church planting, and even Jesus used so often the sower and the seed, and how we plant, we put it out there. God decides kind of how fast that's going to grow and what it's going to turn out to look like. But planting, sowing, it's very much the focus that Jesus had as He was.
And the beautiful thing about this is that when we started talking about the network, we prayed.
Yeah.
I remember us praying each meeting, and we're asking to be Spirit-led, and we just quite didn't know where the Spirit was leading us to. And it's led us to this point that we do have a network, and we are working on things, and we do have a vision where we want to go with this. So in essence, we could say that the Spirit is amongst us.
And when the Tabans get here, it's going to be very busy in a hurry.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Amen.